Hello there. We are back for round 5 with our blue-green LD deck. We are on the draw, and oh no, we have the dreaded one forest Utopia Sprawl double Simic Growth Chamber hand. I think we sort of have to keep it, even though it doesn't actually have any LD in it. We're not doing too much. Like if we draw another land, I think this hand's okay. I mean, maybe we don't have to keep this. Like, it has too many like high-end stuff. It just feels bad to mulligan it since we have lands and spells, and like, if we draw like one more land, then we can like Utopia Sprawl and like turn 4 self-assembler thing. But I guess this is just much better. Our mystery opponent has mulligan to 6 also. I feel like we should keep this. It's not, it may or may not be great, but I mean, we are an LD deck. I didn't come here not to play Thermal Karsts. If this is a Delver, we're in trouble again. If this is another Drake deck, so hopefully our Coiling Oracle will just like put a forest into place so we can Thermal Karst them on turn 3 while we play Simic Growth Chamber. If that doesn't happen though, how bad is it? It does look like they're on Drake again. Alright, so now that we've drawn another green source, I'm just going to go ahead and play Coiling Oracle. Because if we played Growth Chamber, then we could guarantee the Thermal Karst on turn 3. But this should be acceptable also. So hopefully our opponent just plays a Boilworks. Yes, excellent. This is what we want. This is the most times I played Drake in a single league so far, I think. Not that I'm complaining. Let's see. So I'll put Utopia Sprawl in his forest. It needs to be for green, so we can play our Thermal Karst, but that's fine. We have plenty of of blue and green as is. Opponent being a good sport and appreciating the Thermal Karst. It's, you know, it's pretty annoying to play against this type of deck since it is so bad against a lot of the metagame, like the aggressive parts of the metagame, but, you know, sometimes you just want to LD people out, right? So this is going to go get an island, of course. And then we're going to play Simic Growth Chamber. So I guess we should have tapped that better. We should have just left our... We should have tapped Forest, Thornwood Falls to play this, so then we could have at least pretended to have counter spells up. So that gives away just information to our opponent for free, which is not the best thing ever. Hopefully the opponent has another Boilworks that they need to play, so then we can capsize them. They didn't, so I guess we're just going to play the self-assembler. If this gets counterspelled, that's okay, since then maybe our capsize would resolve the next turn. And we might as well play the Growth Chamber. We're like returning Thornwood Falls. The life doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I'm sure we'll be able to find a spot to play it again later without losing our mana prospects. Like we have 3 blue-green lands in play. So if the opponent whiffs on land here, they're in a lot of trouble. Since we can like capsize the Swiftwater Cliffs. So that doesn't allow them to counterspell this capsize. I mean, I guess it's not totally inconceivable that they have like a Force Spike or something in their deck. I mean, they can obviously have a Dispel. So I'm just going to play this just in case that they do have something that punishes us for tapping out entirely. Some of these decks have like one Dispel in them, so if they have the Dispel, we're in trouble. This just looks like a lightning bolt on probably on one of our creatures, however, which is not a bad situation at all. So we're still getting to attack them for 5, which is nice. They also get to gain a life by playing their spell again, but that's okay. So we can play Capsize with Buyback again, or Mold Shambler. So my feeling is we should like just attack. Then next turn we can like Capsize with Buyback in the end step, and then cast Mold Shambler on our turn. Because I think it's quite likely they have Counterspell by now. So I'll play Thornwood Falls. I think that's fine. So we play Capsize. If they have a Counterspell, then we Mold Charm them anyway. If they don't have a Counterspell, then they'll have like 4 mana for like half a second. I guess this does give them the out to have Ghostly Flicker to counter the Capsize too, but then it would still reduce their total mana count. So, given that they might have a Dispel in their deck, I'm just going to respond to that with Capsize. The Seagate Oracle doesn't really bother me too much, to be honest. So, I mean, letting that resolve is fine. Like, they can't really do anything that's too threatening at 3 or 4 mana, to be honest. So, this is A-okay. And if they just replay this again, that's fine. Hopefully we just draw like a 3 mana LD spell, because that would be great. I think I'll just play Coiling Oracle here. Let's see what we flip up. An Acid Moss. I'll just shamble them, get a permanent into play. Destroy another Cliffs. Then we get to play Growth Chamber. And we're increasing our mana every turn. Like, this is like a real nice part about this deck, is that with all the oracles and the rangers and the acid mosses, you can get to like some pretty excellent like late game scenarios where you have like tons of mana available. Like next turn we can play Acid Moss plus Capsize, which is pretty awesome. And the opponent concedes in the face of knowing that there's an Acid Moss here, plus all these creatures. Like, they would need to chump block the Self-Assembler. I mean, they could probably survive another couple of turns, but we're also going to Capsize plus Acid Moss them, so... And they knew about both those cards. So once again, I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'll put in these things, and... so you go. And this is a Snapkeep. And note again, Sylvan Ranger, 2-land hand. If this was a Visionary and failed to draw land, it'd be so bad. So bad indeed. I mean, obviously they could counterspell the Sylvan Ranger. Like, if they're... If they could see my hand right now, if they'd played Peak... Actually, they probably would totally snap off the counterspell on the Sylvan Ranger. Alright, so, I mean, if they've got counterspell, then they'll have a counter spell. So I'm going to play Utopia Sprawl here. And once again, I need to name green for the Thermal Karst. But I expect this will get countered. But next turn, given that we just drew Utopia Sprawl, we can play Thermal Karst plus Dispel backup, I guess. Which is not too bad. It seems like the opponent's got plenty of lands though. Like if they're at 4 lands before you blow up any, it's, you know, never ideal. Alright, so I guess we're just Thermal Karsting one. They got like a nice 2-for-1 there with their Archaeomancer, but we still got to kill one thing. Hopefully it'll limit their mana, hopefully they don't have too much more. If they do have Pyroblast, that'll be kind of annoying, but not too much we can do about it. They didn't counterspell that. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I guess it means maybe they have more like basic islands in their hand. Alright, I'm gonna keep on firing off these Thermal Karst. The quad Thermal Karst draw. The classic. After this sequence of turns though, I'm not exactly sure what we're doing next turn. This could easily, probably getting Pyroblasted. No, it's not. Maybe they just have tons of lands. I mean, as I say, like if my opponent just keeps a hand, it's like 6 lands, counterspell. That hand's pretty good against this deck. So we have options here. We can either go for Muldrifter or like Self-Assembler, start putting the clock on them. We could also like go for Coiling Oracle to try and draw like a Temporal Spring. That doesn't seem that great though. I mean, it does give us Pyroblast in case they want to give us Hydroblast in case they're trying to Pyroblast us. I think I want to play Self-Assembler first, since if we draw another land, then we can like play Muldrifter and keep up Hydroblast to counter their Pyroblast on Muldrifter. And obviously they could just have like another untapped land, play Drake, and kill us. That is certainly something that can happen. If that's what happens, then, you know, got us. I guess they're maybe just playing an Archaeomancer here? Ah, that's definitely a sign that they don't have a 5th land. Pre-Muldrifter draws, at least. Oh, they got one. Curses. Is this a Flame Slash on Self-Assembler? It is. Actually, I think I'd rather like resolve more LD spells here rather than a Muldrifter. Like keeping them off the 5th land is pretty important. And this, you know, lets us build up again a little bit. They're down to like 4 cards, but like we can't really do anything about this Archaeomancer that's in play. So it does mean that we're kind of soft at Ghostly Flicker in general at this point. Like if they just leave up Ghostly Flicker. So we need to get a bunch of power on the board to start overwhelming them. Or maybe draw another Dispel. So you get Oracle. Okay. We're definitely a little bit under the gun here. Like they're drawing a bunch of cards. They still have a bunch of mana. If this stays alive, then they're obviously going to have tons of mana available. And it looks like it's going to get to stay alive for now. So what do we want to do about that? We can definitely try to draw an Acid Moss or something here. But I think I'd rather... Let's see. So if I like evoke Muldrifter, that gives us like 3 mana left over. So we can't actually like draw another Thermokarst since we've drawn them all. And if we drew another Acid Moss, we need to also draw an untapped land at the same time. So I'm just going to cast Muldrifter for full price. Hopefully we don't die. That's not super, but at least it's not nothing. Unless the opponent kills us, in which case it's all nothing. It was all for nothing. The opponent certainly can kill us. Okay, well, they don't have the Drake. That's pretty much for certain. They even have like an extra land in their hand to play if they feel like it. And that's kind of unfortunate. Like, hopefully what will happen here is they'll just play land and then play Ghostly Flicker again. That would be basically ideal, because then it will let me Acid Moss their Boilworks. Like if they're just aggressively trying to Seagate Oracle card draw, that would work out for us. If they don't do that though, it's pretty bad. So obviously, like if we just play Acid Moss on Boilworks, they can like Ghostly Flicker, the Boilworks, and Archaeomancer, which results in us basically tapping 4 mana to return a basic land to their hand, which isn't the best thing in the world, of course. So I think I'll just get this Self-Assembler cast. See if I can bait the opponent into like playing playing Ghostly Flicker again to get back Flame Slash or something to deal with it. But I think it's likely that we're going to die this turn, since we only have this Hydroblast, and as mentioned, it only really has like 1 application and it hasn't come up yet. A little bit stuck on blue this game. Like we needed to, because what we wanted to do is get the extra mana from the Utopia Sprawl, but then not drawing another blue after that was actually pretty unfortunate for us. Wow, the full retail Muldrifter and untapping themselves out from the Ghostly Flicker. That's excellent news for us here. I mean, it's not excellent news because they still resolve the Muldrifter, and Muldrifter is awesome. But it's, in terms of, you know, bad things that can happen to us, it falls far lower on the ladder than us actually losing the game. So time to attack in with my creatures. Hopefully, like, they'll get into some gang block situation on the Self-Assembler. Well, that was obviously a bit much to ask for, but you never know. So time to kill his Boilworks. And I'm thinking that we should play Coiling Oracle. Maybe we'll flip up a Dispel. Oh, we got a Growth Chamber, which is not bad. So if we've been like holding up potentially Dispel for a while, and that might be stopping my opponent from trying to kill me. It might be. I have a feeling probably not though, and I don't think holding up a Hydroblast is going to be super relevant. So I'm going to play out this and still realize that we might be dying. Like if the turn starts with Drake, land Drake, then you know, that's fine. It may or may not be doing that. Like maybe they just want to get their 2 points of damage in before they start comboing off, you know? Or maybe they're just planning on Ghostly Flickering, Archaeomancer, and Muldrifter on their main phase. Which is still lots of value. It is admittedly a ton of value. I guess I would have quite liked them to trade for this Muldrifter at some point. Yeah, another Ghostly Flicker. Hopefully they'll just play another Seagate Oracle, or indeed play Ghostly Flicker again instead of like holding up. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do at the moment. This is kind of unfortunate. Oh no, they got back their Flame Slash. Are they going for it? No, our Hydroblast. It's so useless. I just wanted the extra draw, the extra card draw. Now we're getting punished. Well, here's another Coiling Oracle. Maybe this will whip something good. Temporal Spring on Is It Boilerworks? It's certainly not the worst thing I could imagine. It could obviously get counterspelled. They've certainly drawn enough cards. I would like them to trade for the Small Drifter still, so I can like pulse it back. I don't think they will though. Something tells me that they probably don't want to do that. Oh well. After my earlier assessment that I basically never needed to get a 4th self-assembler, that's a couple of matches in this league where I've been like, well, I guess I wish I had a 4th self-assembler. Brand new island technology. Well, this Hydroblast isn't doing much else. Is this the Pyroblast on Hydroblast? It is. Okay then. So, I guess at this point we're just sitting there hoping not to die. Like maybe all the opponent's drakes are at the bottom, 10 cards to their deck or something. Oh, more Chaomancers. For Ghostly Flicker, I imagine. Or are they just... I mean, they probably have a Ghostly Flicker in their hand. They're just getting Flame Slash with the mana floating to kill Muldrifter. That's honestly not too bad. Assuming they... No, they didn't use it. What a disaster. So we're starting to get into the desperate times, calling for desperate measures section of the game. Let's attack with everything. I think we're going to Temporal Spring back. We're going to Impulsive Marasa back, like Coiling Oracle maybe. Then we can cast it and try and hit something good. Like, I mean, we could obviously just bring back Self-Assembler, but I don't think that's going to get the job done. I think we need to do some crushing. And the faster we hit Crusher, the better. Then we can't even like cast it this turn, but we could have drawn something good. I guess we could have Temporal Springed or Muldrifter and then drawn it, but that didn't seem great either. I mean, this doesn't really put my opponent off anything. It just means they are just drawing a land again this turn. See, you get Oracle. Bad news. Bad news for the home team. So, like Crusher, even if you draw Crusher this turn, still might not get, it may not get the job done, since they can obviously just kill us, which is not an outcome that is desirable. Basic Island, definitely not going to get the job done, but at least we get to attack in for 2. And pretend we have something. Ooh, look at all these islands we have untapped. And we're still on 19. We're not actually dead anytime soon. I'm going to double block this Archaeomancer. Try and take one of them off the table. Who knows, we might get into a bizarre situation where my opponent lets me kill all their Archaeomancers. Or they're just going to cast Ghostly Flicker. They might also accidentally let me kill them with Mulldrifter. It seems unlikely, again, but like this game is basically a write-off at this point. But we still get this opportunity to scout their deck to see if they're going to Stone Rain us at any point. See if they're going to have like Giga Drowses or like Dispels or anything like that, which they may or may not have in their deck. But it's good to find out. And the opponent, you know, like they could end up accidentally putting all their Ghostly Flickers into their graveyard. I mean, we probably still wouldn't be able to beat whatever cards they got back with these Archaeomancers if they're not taking back Ghostly Flickers. But it's not inconceivable. We could just draw like insane cards for the rest of the game. Not that we have actually all that many of those at this stage. Our opponent has actually lost connection to the game, so I guess I'll just wait here and see what happens if and when they come back. And the opponent has indeed come back, and they're Ghostly Flickering, Mulldrifter and Archaeomancer. A fine pair of cards, to be sure. And yeah, let's see. And the opponent's not close to decking themselves. I'm gonna just pack it in now. Yeah, it didn't look like we were too close to putting the game away there, unfortunately. I think I'll just keep the same configuration as last time. And head straight into battle. Okie dokie. And not amazing, but I think it's keepable. We don't have a turn 3 LD spell, which is obviously like the best thing to have. But at least we can like make solid plays for most of the game, and if we do happen to draw LD spells, then obviously that's just great. More Acid Mosses are good. We obviously prefer a Thermal Karst or a Temporal Spring to be playing next turn, but that's alright. If the opponent's leading on Basic Mountain, that might imply that their next land's going to be a Boilerworks. If their land here is a Boilerworks, then obviously I'll be incredibly sad that we didn't have a Thermal Karst, but so it's entirely possible that they've got like a Pyroblast here, but if they're going to use it on a Temporal Spring, I think that's okay. It means they're not countering the Mulldrifter in the near future. And we still get to cast Acid Moss next turn on whatever blue source they play. They obviously could have like a Negate or something in their sideboard. or looks like either just an evoked Muldrifter or a Seagate. Yeah, I think this is okay. I don't think you normally lead with Mountain if you can help it, since getting to double blue is so important. If I can just keep blowing up their individual blue source for the next several turns, I think that's, you know, probably quite good for me. So next turn we get another nice thing about Ranger here is we can like play Ranger, get another island, and then guarantee our land drop for the turn, so we can play Acid Moss. So we're definitely thinning out our deck at a reasonable pace here. Our beatdown clock isn't exactly the fastest thing in the world, but I've seen worse. Let's see. I'm gonna Acid Moss again, since I don't. Oh no! This is exactly what I talked about earlier. This is why you should do it the other way around. Oh, what a horrible play that was. We should have an extra force into play. I hope that doesn't do us in later on. Yeah, I mean it certainly could, since like next turn we should be able to play Temporal Spring plus Muldrifter, and if we can't, then it could lose us the game. Well, since they didn't hit a land drop, I'm gonna fire off this Temporal Spring. If they have Pyroblast, that's okay, because we could have countered it. But it looks like they don't, otherwise they would have. So next turn we can like just play Muldrifter. I mean, we still have the backup for the Muldrifter, but like if their hand was like 2 Pyroblasts, then this would have been better, I believe. If they're lightning bolting it, that's actually fine. I don't think I care about that being killed at all. Ooh, showing them an Acid Moss. Oh well, we definitely made the one big punt this particular game. Looks like it may not be punishing us. The opponent's still not dead though, so we're obviously continuing on. If this is another removal spell for like one of my 1/1s, I'm more than happy to accept. And they can just draw a mountain again next turn. Oh, I see. So we have 8 mana. I think... I think just Reaping and Sowing is fine. Like, it doesn't put any pressure into play, but they have actual no lands right now. So when we do this, we get to get a Growth Chamber, which puts us up to 10 mana next turn, so we can like play 2 Self-Assemblers or Muldrifter plus Self-Assembler. Oh, opponent has an island. So I think a Self-Assembler is good. Like, they don't have any red mana available with which to like cast Flame Slashes. So if we just put 8 power into play right now, next turn we can play Self-Assembler plus Muldrifter plus have Hydroblast open. That's got to be quite good, right? And yes, like this is a sort of situation I was saying where like you want the self-assembler to put the game away, but you don't really need 4 of them. Well, there's a crusher, which actually obsoletes the other ones. in the situation where we have this much mana, yes, crusher is definitely the best draw. So let's just play that, and I assume my opponent is gonna concede after this. I guess they could have like no, I can't imagine a scenario where they can not die. We certainly did not make it fun for the opponent, however. Not a very fun and interactive game. So there you go, we managed to go 4-1 with blue-green land destruction. I hope you thought this deck was interesting at the very least, and if you want to see other decks, make sure to check out on newmockgaming.com, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jecht Murray, follow me on Twitter and all that sort of social media stuff. See you next time, bye!